Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to TILAGO'S Tidbits. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. I am Tiffany, aka Tilago, for those of you who may not know. In the month of February, I am giving you guys every single video centered around a lesson that life has taught me. And we're all here to live out more purposeful lives, and each of these lessons has helped me to live out that more purposeful life for myself, okay? So if you're watching this one, I think this is the fourth life lesson that life has taught me that I'm discussing. So if you missed the other three, all good. I'm gonna link them up and down below. So make sure that you go and check those out after you watch this one. Are y'all good at winking? Anyway, so yeah, if you want to know the lesson that I want to discuss today, it is the fourth one, then keep on watching. Okay, now this lesson was specifically created for today, all right? Because I know that Valentine's Day is tomorrow, okay? So today's life lesson that life has taught me is to always guard your heart. Always guard your heart, okay? Like, y'all should just like really let that one sink in. Your heart is so precious. Your heart is so fragile. Your heart is where everything flows from. There's a verse that says that. I'll link it because I don't know exactly the verse. But guard your heart because from it, everything flows. Flows life, flows just everything, right? So you've got to make sure that you are protecting your heart. What does that mean? What does protecting and guarding your heart mean? For me, it's meant to get out of relationships that you know are not for you, or don't even get into those relationships. And that can be romantic relationships, that can be friendships, that can be business relationships, does not matter. You have to guard your heart. And that also means that you can't like do certain things that will make you feel a certain way, or it's just all about like making sure that you're protecting what God has given you in your heart, what you value. Just all of those things need to be protected, because your emotions lead to actions, and your actions can either be good or bad. But if you have negative emotions, it's going to lead to negative actions that are not going to be productive for you, that are going to bring more negativity into your life. So you don't want that. So guard your heart. And you also don't want to be hurt, right? Like, none of us wake up in the morning like, you know what, today is the day that I think I would really love for someone to hurt me. So I'm just gonna like just go live however. I'm not gonna guard my heart. I'm not gonna think about who I am, what I value, what my worth is. I'm just gonna be out here doing my thing, okay? No, none of us wake up like that. So make sure that you're thinking about that. Guard your heart. So yes, your girl is single and has been single since sophomore year of college. So I was a sophomore in college in 2011. So that's a long time. Okay, don't do the math, but that's a long time. Yes, like I've talked to guys along the way and like tried to create relationships with people along the way, but ultimately I just realized that they were not for me, and that is simply because I knew that God did not purpose for them to be in my life in that capacity, and for me to not be in their life in that capacity. So have we made mistakes? Absolutely. Have I given my heart to people who didn't deserve it? Absolutely. Have I put myself in situations that I should not have been? Absolutely. And that is why life has taught me the lesson to guard my heart. And I also think that is why I've been single for so long, because God is like, okay, you didn't hear me the last 25 times that I told you to guard your heart and to make sure that you are thinking about your emotions, but you're also thinking about what I want for you in your life. And since you didn't learn it, you're just gonna go through that same exact cycle and that same exact issue with another person. And that's what continued to happen. Whenever you don't guard your heart, right, you don't really have those standards, or you don't think about your standards. So you just allow people to treat you any kind of way, or you allow them to come in and out of your life, or you allow them to talk to you any kind of way. Like, it's just amazing how many people don't guard their heart and they still think that they are living a life that is fulfilling, or living the life that God wants them to, or living around people who they know they shouldn't be. Like, it's so amazing to me, because once I finally, like, once my eyes were open to see, like, if you aren't guarding your heart, like, you're like, no one is treating you the way that you're supposed to be treated. You're acting like you're worth nothing if you don't guard your heart. That's honestly, like, that's a big, huge idea that sticks in my mind. If I'm not guarding my heart, then I'm acting like I am worthless, that God created me to be worthless. And that's not true. Okay, so people should value you. So you have to have self-worth first. You've got to know who you are, man. You gotta love yourself. If you cannot love yourself, if you cannot guard your heart on your own within yourself, then you're not going to be able to give your heart to somebody who is actually going to guard it as well, because you're always just going to be throwing your heart at whoever seems promising, right? You're going to go so much off of potential. So in terms of relationships and me guarding my heart, it's really about me knowing my standards and knowing who God has created me to be and how he values me. If I meet a guy and they don't value me the way God values me, or they don't meet my standards, or they're just like, I just get a different vibe, because your heart will read vibes too now. Come on. I'm a vibe reader. I'm a vibe reader. Sometimes I ignore the vibes, but I'm a vibe reader, okay? And so if you don't think about those three things, and if the guy is not meeting any of those things, then he shouldn't be a part of my life in that capacity, right? So why do so many of us just like ignore the signs, ignore that thing, and just go off of potential? Like, oh, he has the potential to be a great guy, or she has the potential to be somebody who would be a wife. Like, no, if that potential is not up to date, then it shouldn't be a part of your life. You shouldn't be thinking about them in that way. I don't mean that everybody should be like, boom, perfect whenever you meet them, because nobody's gonna be perfect. But there are some things that you just have to make non-negotiables in your life, in terms of relationships, in terms of friendships, in terms of business relationships. It does not matter. You have got to make sure that you are paying attention to the signs. And all signs are not going to be huge. Like I said, sometimes it's just a vibe. Sometimes you get around people and you're like, I don't feel right around you. Pay attention to that. God is sending you that sign for a reason, right? So for me in the past, like I said, I've just made mistakes and allowed people to treat me ways that I know I should not have been treated. I know I deserve better. I know that I should have gotten out of certain connections quicker than I did. And it led to me having to like go into consecration, like just block everything else out and get into isolation, because now I've got to heal that part of my heart that this person did not take care of. I gave them this part of my heart. They beat it up with a stick or with their fist, or they kicked it around like they didn't do what they were supposed to do with it, or what I thought that they would do with it. Therefore, whenever it was given back to me, because yes, they're going to throw it back, heartbroken, they're going to throw your heart back, that piece of your heart. And so now you've got to actually allow it to heal. And the only person who can heal it is God. I'm telling you guys. So you're going to have to get into that moment of consecration, of spending more time with God, of learning who you are again, honestly. And man, I don't want to keep having to learn who I am. Like, I want to know who I am, then I want to just live that out, right? Because if I continue to have to learn who I am, that is exhausting. That is so exhausting to have to keep going back and learning something again and again and again and again and again. Like, if you have kids, think about you having to teach them what 1 + 1 is over and over and over. Guard your heart above all else, okay? Because everything that you do flows from it. Everything that you think, everything that you say, it is all going to flow from your heart. And you don't want it to be beaten up. You don't want it to be negative. Think of your heart as the most precious gift that God has given you, other than life, because he's giving you life. But actually, that's the same thing, because your heart is what beats and makes you live, right? So think of your heart as the most precious thing you've got, and you have got to guard it with your life. Guard that thing, man. So pay attention to the signs. Don't get into things that you know you're not supposed to be in. And if you're in something right now, and if you know that you're not supposed to be in it, that is a romantic relationship, if you're having friends that you know you're not supposed to have, who are causing you to do negative things, or who just are not productive in your life, or if you're in certain situations that you know you're supposed to get out of them quickly. Like, don't wait on that, because the longer that you stay in something you're not supposed to be in, the longer that you allow your heart to be beaten to death, the longer that it's going to take for you to heal. That's just point blank, plain simple. So get out of those things that you know you're not supposed to be out or be in. And if you are not in anything yet, pay attention to the signs and all of that good stuff, so that you know when you are supposed to be in a certain relationship or friendship or connection, and when you're not. Okay. So again, guard your heart, for from it everything flows. So you got to take care of it like a precious stone, like something that is like valued high above anything else. Guard your heart. Okay, so like I said, it's around Valentine's Day. So shoot, some of y'all might have to break up with your boos on Valentine's Day. I mean, that's just what it is. If you don't feel it, if you're not guarding your heart, if you feel like you're not being treated the way you're supposed to be treated, it's time to let go. And something else I want to like pin in here. If you find yourself settling, what? So that's like me talking about if they're not meeting standards, if they're not if you're not catching a good vibe, if they're not who God has purposed you to be with, because he will send signs to tell you if they are or if they're not. I'm telling you, he will. You just have to make sure that you are paying attention to them and you're not ignoring them. But if you are allowing yourself to settle, then you really need to take the moment away from everything and examine yourself. Spend some time with yourself, because if you're settling, that means you don't know your worth, and you are worth something. You're valuable. Every single one of us is valuable, okay? And we deserve somebody who is also valuable. But the other piece is, like I said, everyone's not going to be perfect, and sometimes, yes, we are going to have to compromise on certain things, but you need to have those non-negotiables in your life set in place so that you know them, so that you can pick them out and point them out quickly, so that you don't make yourself or put yourself in a position to be heartbroken. Okay, I believe that's all. I hope that all of that made sense, because I realized that I really rambled here, but whatever. The fourth life lesson that life has taught me is to guard my heart above everything else. Make sure that my heart is guarded. So if you liked this life lesson, if you like this little rambling video that I did today, then make sure you give it a thumbs up, and so that I know that you liked it. And then also make sure that you comment down below, and make sure that you are subscribed to this channel, because I want you to catch every single life lesson that I talk about in the month of February, because I really believe that all of them are going to help you to live a better and more purposeful and more positive and more motivated life. And who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? So thank you so much for watching. That is all. So catch me in the next video, where we will continue on this journey to a life with a more positive and motivated mindset. And until next time, always remember, above all else, spread love.